Thanks for staying with us. Heroin addiction continues to claim lives in our country. Colin, what has Maryland done to take action in combating opioid addictions?
Well, I think they've done a lot of the same things that other states are doing, which is the fact that nobody really has a good plan to deal with it. Yes, you can have enforcement. Yes, you can have treatment. You can have all kinds of programs to get people off. The problem classically has been that we drive people to methadone clinics. Well, guess what? Methadone is just as addictive as heroin is. What is amazing to me about this crisis is it's a crisis that was created by the pharmaceutical industry. In the late 90s, nobody was doing heroin anymore. It completely faded off the radar. And then we had a period of time when doctors started throwing very powerful opioids like Oxycontin at patients for nothing. Oh, I hurt my foot. Well, here you go. Here's basically a $1,000 dose of heroin. Go have fun with it.
Yeah.
Then we realized that we're doing something very bad because we had a pill addiction that was occurring. And then we took it all away, and then people started turning to heroin. I don't know that there is a right answer, and I don't know. I think Maryland is doing as well as any other state is doing, but I don't know that we have found what that magical pill is yet.
Well, yeah, and something that I kind of wonder too is, could it be economy related? Because, people, lose their jobs or falling on tough times. They turn to alcohol and drugs to try to cope with their problems, and then they become addicted and can't shake the addiction.
Or it could be the breakdown of the family structure. I mean, that is happening too. And but what I was going to just make a point about what Maryland has done, the prescription drug monitoring program. Something I actually forget if it's already established or when it will be established, but in essence, it basically is a database that tracks patients' history. What medications they've been on, so it allows prescribers to go in and check and say, okay, patient A has had a history of requesting this prescription and that prescription. So that's a step in the right direction at least, so that all prescribers are on the same page and doctors, and they can track and figure out, okay, this person is really not having problems but is feeding an addiction. Right. So that is one thing that
and I think that to some degree does occur. And I know my wife used to work in healthcare, so she worked for Emeritus for a long time, and at urgent cares, and they were aware of who the people that were the seekers, is what they call them, were. Different drugs at that point, or it was during the pill epidemic. And I think that's a step in the right direction. The reality, though, is now we've turned that piece into a heroin addiction, which is being fed by the black market. So no control, no regulation I'm aware of in the illicit market for heroin.
Well, and could part of that problem be the fact that they changed, the oxycodones or whatever you call them, of the world, they changed them so that they're time release instead of immediate release. So apparently you don't get as much of a high on the pills at this point.
Well, they have, and the only reason I know this is because last night actually at work we had a naloxone administration training. But the lady from the health department was explaining that the gel packs of those time release medications that you're talking about, people who are addicted to heroin can just pop them in their mouths and chew on them and get all of the medication at once versus a time release.
Oh, good.
So they're actually able to get the high all at once. So, it's just terrible.
But I've not had a lot of procedures in my life. Okay, I had a broken toe once. I had a kidney stone once, and I ended up a couple of years ago, cleaning out old medicines. I had like 3 bottles of that stuff. Now I'm one that takes like 2 of them, and then I say that's enough of that stuff because I don't do well with these things. They literally put me out. But I mean, it's easy to get a stockpile even for someone like me that has no interest in them.
And it is such a huge problem, but one small thing that we can do, right, as individual citizens is taking participating in the trainings that the Washington County Health Department offers, like the naloxone training. I mean, that's completely free, and it's a service that's offered to anybody who wants it. And that, of course, is a prescription that you administer to someone who's having a heroin overdose. So it's a big problem, but that's something that we can do. We might not be able to solve the whole issue, but that's a small step that we can take to really save lives.
Well, and another step that we can also take as well is so, we have in Washington County, the Washington County Narcotics Task Force. And they have on their website a place where you can anonymously report where there's a narcotics dealer or narcotics dealing activity. And, so if you know of activity like that that's going on, help clean up your neighborhood and report it anonymously.
And for the people like me that again got these over time and had no reason to use them, there's also routinely there's drop-offs
Yep.
for
Right.
for outdated or unused prescription medications.
Not only that, but you could take them to any doctor's office and they'll be able to dispose of them.
I
Or the
didn't know
police
that.
department.
Yeah, or
I'm
the
pretty
police
sure the police
department.
department does as well.
I know the sheriff's department does it 3 or 4 times a year. There's one coming up. Or there was one
and
that
I
just
think,
passed.
On
I think the
Saturday,
city of
actually. Oh, was it?
Hagerstown might
Okay.
actually have a drop-off box. Double
But
check
that's,
on-
I mean,
on
that's
that
great
with the police
stuff,
department.
because you don't want them to get in the wrong hands.
Right.
And, I know stories of people's kids that got addicted from pills that were left around the house, and you just, think about that.
And that's what's unique about this epidemic. It doesn't matter your socioeconomic status, right? It doesn't matter what part of the country you live in, your age. It doesn't matter any of those things. All of those things are not factors. I mean, it's plaguing every area of the
Right.
country.
Yeah.
Well, you look at the ages affected. I saw a chart from the Mayo Clinic that suggested that there was an equal number of people affected from basically the age of 40 to the age of 60. When you
Right.
think about that, that's pretty amazing.
Well, alcohol addiction, drug addiction, they know no bounds. They know no social bounds, no economic bounds. I mean, anyone can be an addict,
And they have, at this point, at last report, and this was again from the Mayo Clinic, over 200,000 cases a year that are reported. It doesn't include those that were never reported.
Yeah,
That's pretty sad.
that is. So,
And another thing that I'm happy and encouraged to see is that law enforcement is actually going after the dealers now
Yeah.
too,
Yes.
right? If there's a fatality as a result of a heroin overdose, they're
That's
going
where
to the
they should-
source.
That's
really
where they
what
should
be
go.
going.
Right. Well, I mean, for a while they weren't.
Right.
It was the person who, had the overdose was being charged and getting thrown into jail. And what's that going to do?
No,
2 or
no.
3 months after their time, they're going to be out on the streets
yeah.
using it
Grab-
again.
Grab the dealer, lock them up, throw away the key. That's what I say. Help treat those that were addicted.
Absolutely.
So up next, another state enacts new abortion laws. Please stay with us.